boys, momentum. Obviously, everyone's kind of riding the wave at the moment. Tell us a little bit more around what it's like in camp now. Reviews have all been done, and it's pretty big to keep going, right, with the silverware up for grabs.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously the vibe in camp's pretty good. Like I said, we've strung together a couple of really good performances, and that's been really important for us and an objective from the start of the TRC. That's what we wanted to do. But for us, we can't look any further ahead than this weekend. And we know, particularly from that first half, the Argentinian side are going to be unbelievably good this weekend, and they're going to be disappointed with how that game finished because they had it there for, particularly once they kicked that penalty. They probably should have closed it down. They didn't. So we got lucky in a sense there, but we also created our own luck. And I've been working really hard this week. We've obviously reviewed the game. Got some key areas of growth, and we've got to keep doing what we've been doing, which is finishing games strong. So we've just got to make sure that we come out in the first half on Saturday with that same mindset, and really put in another performance we can be proud of.
The fact that it was so close, you got a bit of a scare both in the first and the second half. Does that mean that the complacency is just not there? And are you able to bring us into how Joe's kind of seen the match? And I'm imagining he would have watched it at least once.
Yeah, I think complacency's never really been an issue for us. We only have to look at last year, for example, a really good performance, and then they put 60 on us the next week. So there's absolutely no complacency from our point of view because we know firsthand just how good this team is we're coming up against. And like you said, obviously Joe post game was happy with the result, but the actual game itself we've got a hell of a lot to work on, and that's what we've been doing. We've been being real with the feedback we've been received, and some honest chats around where we need to get better. But it's great because we're trending in the right direction, and we've got to make sure every single day we continue to do that.
How's Tom Liner going with his Hemi?
Turbo's he's obviously got a little niggle there. Trained today, and mate, I'm not quite sure where he'll land Thursday, but he's available for selection.
Just on the silverware thing, like the rugby championship doesn't get talked about nearly as much as the Bledisloe maybe. You obviously had the Lions series that everyone was focused on this year, but you guys, Australians, have won it for 10 years. Like that, it'd be an amazing trophy to win in its own right, wouldn't it? It's up for grabs. Yeah,
it would be, but that starts with a good victory this weekend. And that's the only thing we can be looking at. We can't really, and we haven't spoken about the Bledisloe, we haven't spoken about the TRC because we know we're only as good as our next game. And then we've got to make sure we perform well.
Tate, you've been part of this team for a fair while now, and there once was a kind of a period where Wallabies' performances would swing, quite high, quite low sort of thing within space, like you referred to even last year. I feel like there's a different mentality in this group where you're getting closer to highs and lows. That roller coaster part is maybe something that isn't part of this group.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're working towards. We want to be a consistent team that performs week in, week out, regardless of who we go up against. And we saw that against South Africa twice. Whilst we didn't get the victory in the second game, we were thereabouts, and we had a chance to win it. We just weren't good enough. So, again, with the Lions, that second test in Melbourne, very good. But we weren't quite good enough. So that's what's the hunger, and that's what's burning in the background. Those tight results where we know on our day when we actually put all the pieces together, we win games. But we got to make sure we're putting those pieces together. Otherwise, we're off the ball a little bit. But I've been really proud to be a part of this team this year. We've been a lot more consistent this year than we were last year under Joe, and Joe and the rest of the coaching staff have been great.
The fact that Harry and the leadership group went all in for the win and it worked, like how much, what does that do to the group, having that, it doesn't get more clear backing of faith from your skipper to do that?
Have you, big boy?
No, you're good.
No, it's been great to particularly be out there with Wilso. I've seen a lot of him at club level, and the way he's taken not only his leadership to a next level this year, but also his own personal performances. He's the type of guy that people follow, and when he makes those calls, obviously it's not easy. Being a captain at the Reds, I know exactly kind of what's going through his head, but in a gold jersey, there's a hell of a lot more pressure, and the way he's handled that's been phenomenal. He's the type of guy off the field, obviously a bit of a joker, but when he puts his mind to something and really switches on, the whole group kind of follow him in. So he's it's been great to see his development for sure.
Just quickly on that, in the postscript, did you guys analyse, was that the right call? Like, I know it all turned out to be the right call, but how did Joe see it, a day later?
You'd probably have to ask also, to be honest. But I think Joe was obviously happy with that we backed ourselves, and we're the type of team that will back ourselves, and that's the team we want to be. And obviously we could have been content with getting a draw, but we didn't choose that path. And I think Joe has 100% faith in whatever leaders out there. Obviously this time it was Wilso. That he's going to make the right decision and the best one for the side.
Yeah, well, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Interesting kind of last couple of months for you, and you've kind of been battling through a bit of injury as well and playing through that. How's the body, firstly?
Body's good. Obviously, the last couple of months been challenging for me, but grateful for the opportunity to be back and playing and wearing the gold jersey. Starting that Lions, the third game. I got lucky there. Obviously, feel for Al. Got injured, but it gives me the opportunity to get back in the gold jersey, and I've been enjoying it. Hopefully there's more to come before I'm head off to France.
Totally. What on the weekend there was obviously you've been in pretty good form, and then a couple of kind of tackles that went awry.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what Harry said to you at the time?
He probably he said no, don't do it again. Obviously, it wasn't the start we were looking for. Gave away those 2 penalties and gave the Archies 6 points up, and I was quite nervous there because we got lucky at the end. Otherwise, Joe would have told me to go home maybe. But can't afford to have that, this weekend. If I'm in the team, I'm definitely wrap those arms and when I make those tackles, because otherwise Lordy would give me a hiding.
Now, we spoke to you down in Melbourne when you were with the Pacifica camp, and at that time you weren't sort of sure if you were going to play for the Wallabies again, but it seemed like you really enjoyed that week. Like, did that experience kind of, I don't know, light a little fire or get the enjoyment back at all? Was that anything there?
No, I was just happy to be back playing. I obviously missed the first 2 games against the Lions and got the opportunity to play for the Pacifica team, so it was just good an opportunity for me to play against the Lions, and again lucky enough to do it twice for the Wallabies. So
each opportunity is now feeling a bit more special.
Very special. Like I said earlier this year, you get older and you just know there's guys coming up fighting for the jersey. So, and you just never know when it's your last one. So every opportunity is just as important for you.
How are you going with the referees this season? There's obviously tight head prop. It's always a case of angles and I don't know anything about scrums, but like you obviously got into difficulty at times this season with angling in their eyes. Like, how are you going with, I guess, managing the refs week to week and working on your technique as well? Yeah,
I've done a lot of work with Connor, staying square, and I think I've done that really well in the last few weeks. And I'm always knowing as a Tate coming on the ankle, so I'm trying to change that. So I know all the refs are looking for me going in. So just trying to paint a perfect picture at the start, and if I can sneak in going into the second half, I can. So, but I've been, I've been working hard on that with Toronto, and I think I've done it really well in the games.
Do you think it's fair that you've been penalised like that? I know it's probably all different, but like, has that been fair, or do you now feel like you've got an unfair target on your back at that time?
I don't know. Refs doing their job, so I just have to react. If I'm getting penalised, if we're going in, then I have to stay square.
Tate, speaking of scrums, the RG scored twice off the start of play there. Has that been, you guys looked at that and figured out what was going on? It almost looked like the first one they scrummed in on purpose to get the extra number. Like, can you obviously talk about what you guys have looked at with that?
Yeah, it was disappointing, those two scrums, because particularly as a back line, we put the side under pressure twice, and we tried to change stuff up by moving personnel to the other side, and that's the side they followed us to. So we actually spoke about that and previewed that the week prior to knowing that they were, obviously they've got some world class outside backs. And they're dangerous of those scrums, and we just didn't get our setup right. So, it's definitely something we've looked at today and trained today to make sure that doesn't happen again. But, for sure, obviously when they wheel scrums in a certain direction, they take the back row out, it makes it more difficult to defend. But if we get our setup right, then that shouldn't be an issue.
Taniela, with Will Skelton leaving, how does that change the scrum for you guys? Because obviously he's been packing behind you and there's a bit more weight there. How does that change it? And just to follow up on Will, he seems like he brings the best rugby out of you. What kind of impact has he had on you as a player?
I mean, it doesn't change much from what we do in the scrum. We just lost extra trying to kill us, I just have to push a lot harder now. I don't have that weight behind me, but other than that, nothing changed. And we miss Will. He's a good fellow to have around the team, and obviously having guys like him, just having him in the team, it gives some of the guys confidence, and hopefully we can have him back. Not sure when, but I miss having a big fellow behind me because I don't have to do much. Just get in a good spot, and then he'll do all the work.
Tate, you with Nelly obviously played together at the Reds captain, and the Reds know very well. Like the Wallabies camp when he wasn't there, and then coming back in. Can you talk about the impact, the player and personality of Nelly?
Yeah, he's obviously fun to be around, isn't he? And he makes sure that guys like Willie and stuff that they can have a joke around, and his laughs obviously contagious. But when he's playing his footy like he has been the last, this test season really, it's been great. And obviously I've seen Nella at his best, and I've played against Nella the last couple of years, and when he's smiling and he's joking around, he's playing his best footy, and he's been training well as well. So it's great to have him here and in good form as well.
What about you? You've had an interesting year, a couple of cameos on the wing, which went pretty well. Has that been talked about as an option going forward with the 6-2 split, and you occasionally training on the wing as well and keeping those skills up?
He did well.
Yeah, didn't he?
Really well.
We haven't actually spoken about how that 6-2 would work. Obviously, that is an option now that I've shown I can play there, but it's not the first option. We've got far better wingers than me. I'm just.
That's not what you said.
I'm just break glass in case of emergency, and that's the beauty of this squad. We've got so many boys playing well in that wing position and right across the back line forward pack that boys are competing week in, week out, and obviously Joe's got the luxury of sometimes going to a 6-2 because of the players that can not only me cover other positions, but also the other back on the bench can cover multiple positions as well, and whoever that may be. It's been good. It's been interesting to be a part of. I was under Brad Thorne, where he used to play me a little bit in the wing late in games, and it's been different coming on us as only a winger. I haven't done that in the past, but it's been a role I've really enjoyed.
Was it stressful, something thrown out there against in some massive games playing in a position you don't actually play? Like, it was a bit of a head spin for you?
No, I mean, the only thing I was a little bit worried about was the aerial game, you know, and they didn't target me for some weird reason, but that's the only thing. At the end of the day, footy's footy, and you know, the way I like to play, being out in the wing is not only gives me a little bit more rest than running ruck to ruck, but it also gives me a little bit more space and freedom to activate my running game, which is a strength of mine. So, yeah, obviously played a little bit of sevens back in the day, and it's not too different to that, to be honest.
Nello, just on Micron, like we've been talking a bit about him, and he looks like he's finishing up after the TRC. Like, how influential has he been for the group and for you?
No, yeah, he's been really good for me, and we've sit back, you know, a few times and watch some of my scrum and how I do things in the scrum, and some things I do, I'm able to get away with it because of my strength. But you know, I realise at times I'm working too hard and wasting a lot of energy because I'm trying to do things on my own in the scrum. So having Connor there, he helped me and realise that I don't have to do it on my own, and I can, you know, do it as an 8. So no, he's been really good. Been enjoyed working with him. So yeah, I'm trying to learn as much as I can of him before he finishes up with us.
Did you guys see the Springbok scrum on the All Blacks that way where it looked like they were on roller skates there going back in the second half?
Yeah, there was yeah. After our game, I go on my phone and watch the game. It was straight in that scrum. Man, it was a big scrum from the Suffolk. So
does that give you a bit of confidence knowing that you guys actually really stood up quite well in that area?
Yes, you know, obviously South Africa known as they've been the best scrum for a few years now, and for us to go out there and do what we did, you know, we challenged them, and we got the win too. So it gives us confidence that we can go up against one of the best in the world. So and it tells us we've been doing something right at training. So it's been good for us.
You'll move to France.
Last couple.
When are you actually planning on getting over there and setting up a camp, and you're keen to play spring tour as well, I assume?
Yeah, well, I'm contract here. My contract finished in November or December. I'm not sure. So when that finished, I'll head over there. Yeah, I'll be keen to do spring tour, and if I do that, then I'll end up staying there after spring tour.
Just with this weekend's another sellout, you guys are speaking a lot about the impact of the crowd at the weekend, even though it was a smaller one. Can you just talk us through like the appreciation for the journey that the fans have been on with your team? You're obviously riding a wave as well, but you know, fans have been through some dark days as much as the players. You know, when you see crowds selling out, stadiums selling out, people still turning up for the team, how does that make the team feel?
Yeah, it's massive. You know, we're extremely grateful for the support we've had. You know, obviously the last couple of years have been tough, like you said, from a player's point of view, but also a supporter's point of view. You know, but this year's been unbelievable, the support we've had across that Lions series, and that's rolled into the TRC. Like you said, another sellout this weekend, gold jerseys everywhere. You know, it's something, like I said before, I'm really proud to be a Wallaby, and you know, it's great to see so many supporters at the stadiums, regardless of where we're going. You know, like at Townsville on the weekend, just to see the gold jerseys up there, and that's rare. Usually it's Cowboys and that's it, but gold jerseys all across the street. Yeah, it'll be more of the same this weekend. So yeah, once again, we're really appreciative of everyone who keeps showing up, who keeps coming to the games week in, week out. And from a player's point of view, we're absolutely loving the sport, and we're aiming to also, you know, put in performances that they can be proud of.